On September 27, 1940, Hitler's Nazi Germany, Mussolini's fascist Italy, and the Empire of Japan sign a pact to dominate the world. They will almost succeed. It is called the Axis Pact. This secret Axis blueprint for world domination was the work of one man, now forgotten by history. Hitler's special advisor on world affairs, a personal friend of the Japanese High Command, and a master spy without whom there might have been no Pearl Harbor. His name was Karl Haushofer, keeper of the last secrets of the Axis. Between 1920 and 1945, Karl Haushofer was one of the most influential men in Germany. A friend and mentor of Adolf Hitler, he helped guide the Nazi Party to power. Through his various acolytes and disciples, he gradually extended his influence into every sphere of Nazi policy. Karl Haushofer was born in Munich, Bavaria, on the 27th of August, 1869. He was a passionate German nationalist and became a career soldier and an artillery officer. His brilliance and attention to detail quickly led to his appointment to the German General Staff. In October 1908, however, something happened to change Haushofer's life and the history of the 20th century. The German army sent Haushofer to Tokyo to study the Japanese military. The assignment marked the beginning of a love affair with the Orient. Haushofer traveled extensively in the Far East, adding Korean, Japanese, and Chinese to his already extensive repertoire of Russian, French, and English languages. In Japan, Haushofer made the personal acquaintance of the emperor and began to develop a strong interest in militaristic and nationalistic Japanese culture. In 1914, when war broke out, Haushofer returned to Germany to fight on the Western Front. A brilliant soldier, he rose to the rank of Major General. But Germany was to be defeated in the Great War. And after World War I, the Versailles Treaty imposed a savage peace on Germany. The British now controlled Africa, India, and the Middle East. The United States dominated South America and the Pacific. Between them, the Anglo-Saxon sea powers controlled the world's oil and trade routes. Germany and the Eurasian landmass were isolated. Karl Haushofer retired from the army a bitter man. Like many other officers, he felt Germany had been defeated not only by the British and the Americans, but by the betrayal of communists and Jews. While fellow soldiers like Hitler were unemployed and penniless, Haushofer's Japanese experience got him an appointment as professor of geopolitics at Munich University in 1919. It was here that he began to plot the rebirth of Germany's military might. He formulated a political doctrine called Lebensraum, or living space, which asserted Germany's right to conquer and exploit the lands of her neighbors. In the 1920s, in the years following the First World War, Haushofer's great Eurasian alliance begins to take shape. Banned by the Versailles Treaty from having an air force or tanks, Germany signs a secret treaty with the Soviet Union. Called the Apollo Pact, it allows Germany to secretly train its soldiers and airmen in communist Russia, away from the prying eyes of the British and French. German aircraft designers, forbidden by the Versailles Treaty from building warplanes at home, are sent clandestinely to produce aircraft for the Japanese. Aircraft of these designs will eventually bomb Pearl Harbor. Germany in the 1920s, however, remained divided and without a leader. Karl Haushofer needed to find someone who could put his idea of Lebensraum into action. He found that person through a chance encounter with one of his students at Munich University, Rudolf Hess. Hess was already a member of the fledgling Nazi Party. Its leader was Adolf Hitler. In 1923, Hitler and his small band of Nazis tried to stage a coup in Bavaria. They were easily routed. Hitler and Rudolf Hess were arrested and imprisoned in the notorious Landsberg fortress. In Landsberg, Hitler started to write his blueprint for Nazi world domination. He called it Mein Kampf, My Struggle. But who really wrote Mein Kampf? Imprisoned in the Landsberg fortress, Hitler and Hess received a frequent visitor, Dr. Karl Haushofer. It is even possible Haushofer wrote or edited parts of the book. Mein Kampf became a bestseller and transformed Hitler from a street fighter into a serious politician with mass support. As the Nazi Party's fortunes grew, so did those of Haushofer and Hess. When Hess married, 2 witnesses signed the marriage register, Adolf Hitler and Karl Haushofer. Albrecht Haushofer was one of the most brilliant men ever to serve the Nazis. But unlike his father, he would quickly come to recognize the evil and brutal intent behind their ideology. In January 1937, Hitler announced he was rejecting the provisions of the Versailles Treaty. And in March 1938, he invaded Austria and made it a province of the Third Reich. Most German-speaking Austrians welcomed Hitler with open arms. But his entry into Austria had been prepared in secret. A special Nazi body called the Association for Germans Abroad was set up to organize Germans outside the Reich. The association pretended to be an international cultural agency linking Germans scattered abroad. Instead, in Austria, Czechoslovakia, Poland, and other countries in Eastern Europe, it acted as a Nazi fifth column, recruiting agents, fomenting unrest, and demanding reunification with the fatherland. The Association for Germans Abroad was also active in America. Its president and key leader was none other than Professor Karl Haushofer. In 1938, Haushofer's Association for Germans Abroad organized unrest in the German-speaking parts of Czechoslovakia. Hitler used this as a pretext to demand their return to the fatherland. The British and French gave in to these demands, and democratic Czechoslovakia was seized by the Nazis. It seemed only a matter of time before the Nazi drive for Lebensraum would engulf the globe in a new world war. In August 1939, Nazi Foreign Minister Ribbentrop and his deputy Albrecht Haushofer come a step closer to creating the great Pan-Eurasian alliance against the British and Americans, when Hitler's Nazi Germany and Stalin's Russia sign a non-aggression pact. The next month, the German blitzkrieg rolls over Poland and World War II begins in earnest. But there is another, even darker side to Karl Haushofer. He has been called Hitler's Merlin, a sinister, shadowy figure immersed in the occult, whose influence would shape the central Nazi doctrines of blood and race. During his time in the Orient, Karl Haushofer, a genius at languages, discovered and translated many of the ancient Tibetan, Hindu, and Buddhist religious texts. Here, he discovered ancient occult beliefs and the Hindu symbols of the Aryan race that Hitler and the Nazis would later adopt. Haushofer discovered something else in the East. Western-style political parties did not exist in Asia. Instead, the Japanese created secret societies with ultra-nationalist aims, bound together with oaths and secret rituals. The most important was called the Black Dragons. The Black Dragons were an ultra-nationalist secret society, founded by Ryohei Uchida in 1901. Infiltrating Japanese military, business, and government circles, they used terror, espionage, and bribery to further the expansion of the Japanese empire. Like the Nazis, the Black Dragons were motivated by military expansion and ideas of Lebensraum. In Germany, Karl Haushofer helped create secret societies similar to the Black Dragons. He helped found the Luminous Lodge, whose objective was to explore the origins of the Aryan race. And he was also closely associated with the most important secret society of all, the Tula Society. Tula was a legendary island in the far north, similar to Atlantis, supposedly the center of a lost, high-level civilization guarded by ancient, highly intelligent beings who would help to create a race of supermen of Aryan stock to rule the world. As a public front to promote their ideas among Bavarian industrial workers, the Tula Society sets up a group called the Workers' Political Circle, with Tula Society member Karl Haushofer as chairman. The Workers' Political Circle grows rapidly until 1920, when it is renamed. The new name is the National Socialist German Workers' Party, or Nazi Party. An ex-corporal is sent by the Army Secret Service to infiltrate the Nazis. His name is Adolf Hitler. Within a short time, he had become their undisputed leader.